Hello and welcome back to another episode of our video tutorial series on how to use GreenScenario. Now that we have put together a very nice model of our site and then we have multiple scenarios saved over here, we would like to publish the results to our online dashboard. Just to show you how it looks like, under ramble.com greenscenario/dashboard, we have access to the published projects, and we can also grant the access to our clients and share the results this way with them. So they will be provided with a login and password combination. Once they logged in, they would see a few projects over here that they have access to, and then the main section shows some screenshots from different perspectives taken from the dashboard. From the model. Let me switch to English over here so that we're consistent with our languages over here. And we have the same KPI set that we do have in the Rhino model. The difference here is that when we hover over these, we would have little tooltips explaining a little bit more about what is being calculated and how it is being calculated. We also have a section of like key stats related to drawing. An additional benefit of the online dashboard is that we can actually compare between different scenarios and see how they're fair against the KPIs that we're looking at. And also there is this additional tab over here, Green Factor Score, that allows us to really look into all the statistics of every single, how many pavements do we have, how many trees of which size are there in the drawing, so we can see out of 124 trees in general, we have 69 which are preserved, and we have 55 that are small planted, right? So you can really dig deeper over here, and both for you and our clients, we have this FAQ section that gives us very extensive information about the calculation methods, norms used, and where is the data coming from, and so forth. Right, so all this here is available also in multiple languages. So definitely the user interface. So for example, right now we have also a Swedish version, Finnish, and so on, Norwegian. The FAQ section is not necessarily covered by these additional languages. English and German do have it, so we can see it here. Also here we can switch between, select different scenarios, also using our up and down arrows, and then just switch between these. So now that we kind of like understand what the dashboard is, then the question would be how can we export data from our model to this dashboard? And so the first step to do that would be to have at least one scenario in our drawing, obviously, and then things connected to our scenarios component. And here in this particular drawing, I have two scenarios that I have grouped together over here visually for us to understand, 1 and 2. Just using the slider over here to switch between them. And yeah, let's just hit the export button and see what happens. So first of all, there's a little bit of a feedback that the program is doing something. Then it starts this window. I'll just minimize it. And well, by default, it starts in German. So let's just choose English over here to see where we're at. And you can see, well, we have two scenarios, and the KPIs, well, they seem to let me just go back to Rhino. So let's just focus on the first one. Stormwater service level is 273% for scenario number 2, and we have it here. And scenario number 1 is 146, right? So it's exactly the same numbers, but we don't have any visual feedback, and also scenario comparison. Well, we can compare between them, but these thumbnails, they are empty. And the reason for that is because we haven't told Rhino what to save. And so I'll minimize Grasshopper for a moment and then just go to Rhino. So under the named view command, we can see that there's no named views in the drawing. And we need to save these for GreenScenario to know what it should export, and then it will do it. And it's a matter of just hitting on this Save As button and then saving the view, and we can give it a name. So let's just call it perspective 1, and then let's rotate this around, maybe change the angle a little bit just to make it more obvious. Perspective 2, and then let's change another one, and I'll save this as perspective 3, and maybe one more. Rotate from this angle, perspective 4. And once we have done that, we can just close that, go back, and hit export one more time, and you can see it will be generating these views. It opens yet another session, again in German. Let's switch back to English, and we have everything. So you can see here perspective 1, 2, 3, and so on, and also scenario comparison takes these as thumbnails. So it's a very quick way of publishing data to this online dashboard. But then when you look at the address bar over here, it's actually well, it's not what we had before, ramble.com GreenScenario dashboard. It's not living there yet. It is living under localhost 8080 dashboard and so on, right? So what is happening under the hood is that, first of all, GreenScenario is looking at the name of your file, of your Grasshopper file, and it is saving the project under this name. And it's also looking at the location of where you have put it. And since my tutorial.gh file lives on my desktop, it actually has created this export folder for me on my desktop. And within this folder, there is a dashboard and a projects category. So in projects, tutorial, this is where my 2 scenarios live. And for you to export or to publish this to this particular project to the online dashboard, for now I would like you to send me the projects, the contents of the projects folder after you have exported it and after you have locally verified that everything works as expected. Then you can just send me the contents of this projects folder and I will publish it for you online. We're working with Global IT on a smarter way of doing this, but for now we'll just keep it like that. Another aspect to keep in mind here is that, depending on which modules are selected, then we'll see the corresponding categories over here. So please pay attention. There is, like, under open space and green, we only have 4 of these. We don't have our green factor score published. And the reason for that is that this checkbox here was not checked, and also you can verify here, it only publishes what it sees. So let's just turn it on and then hit export one more time and give it a second to regenerate, and it's going to export all these views and then calculate everything. And let's go back to English. Let's see what it did now. Okay, so what we see here is we have the GreenScenario score up, but then there's something, I guess, wrong with the views over here. So let's try and reset everything, and let's try exporting one more time, and then let's see what it will do. And now it has fixed the issue. So again, I'll just close the old ones, not to confuse them. Now we have our green factor score exported as well, and we have both scenarios with correct thumbnails and images. This could be true as well. Let's say we don't really need heat and microclimate, and let's try and export with these settings right now. Give it a moment, and you see again English. We have our categories over here without heat and microclimate. So this is a very very intuitive way of using this dashboard. You can also, if you chose to, you could also just use this locally from your machine. So what I'll do is I'll just show you that. Remember, under desktop or anywhere that you put this tutorial GH file, look for this export folder. Go in there, and then I'll just close the running web server over here. If you wanted to, for whatever reason, just present it to your client from your own laptop during a meeting, and you didn't have time to go through the entire procedure of sending it to me and then publishing it to the online dashboard, you could just run this presentation locally. And the way to do it would be either to start hit the export button from Rhino, or and then it will do everything for you, or look in the export folder for this web server, just start it, run it, and then it will default to showing you what is in this folder, and then just go into dashboard and dashboard HTML, and it will show you the contents of the folder that you have there with all the bells and whistles that come with it. All right, I hope this is understandable, and it gets you one step closer to exporting your own projects to our online dashboard.